We start with a Fox News alert. Late last night, President Biden's personal physician released a letter to try to clean up all the questions and all the confusion yesterday regarding the president's health.
This comes after a report has revealed that a renowned Parkinson's specialist visited the White House 8 times over 8 months.
So the White House is saying in a press briefing that went chaotic yesterday with reporters questions about why the specialist was there and how it relates to the president. I felt like you're dealing with a press corps now that has been fooled for so long, or they feel like that the White House has been truthful to them. They covered for the White House, and now it's just exploding, Ainsley.
Yeah, I mean, if you watch the other channels, we've been talking about it for 4 years. Dr. Siegel had questions on Sean Hannity's show back in 2020 about Biden's health. We've seen him fall. We've seen this all, his just deterioration of his health over the last few years. But they don't report that on the other channels. They don't show the mumbling. They don't show the gaffes. They don't show overall him falling as much as he does. And so people are shocked, and people around the country that don't watch Fox News are saying, wow, after they watch that debate, what's happening? And here we are, a month until the convention, and everything's hitting the fan.
It is hitting the fan, and in fact, we heard that yesterday it was going to hit the fan, but it sounds like it's going to hit the fan again today, although it hit the fan yesterday in the briefing room.
It did.
And the reason the reporters were so steamed was the fact that they were asking very simple questions. And, you know, the cover of the New York Post today, White House stonewalls on repeated visits to by the Parkinson's expert. Why did he keep going? And extraordinarily, the New York Post broke this story a couple of days ago about, hey, some Parkinson's guy went to the White House a bunch of times, probably met with the president's personal physician, Mr. Connolly. Well, the problem is we don't know exactly why he went, and KJP yesterday did not do the president any favors, because she was talking about, I'm not going to talk about any specific details for security reasons, which is extraordinary, because we know the people's names. We know the name of the specialist. We know the name of the expert. We know that he went to the White House facility in the residence. So it's like, we can connect the dots. So why didn't she help?
Well, and the doctor, his physician, his name is Dr. O'Connor, he sent this letter, this memo out, explaining why Dr. Kevin Kennard, this neurologist, why he was there.
From Walter Reed.
He said he's a great doctor. He's from Walter Reed. He's one of the best. And he said he has been there for his annual physicals. Well, he's had 3 annual physicals, obviously one every year since he's been president. But the question is, what about the other 5 visits in the last 8 months? Why was he there those 5 times?
So yesterday during the briefing room, this is when all hell broke loose. Let's watch it.
Could you state, like, very clearly, yes or no, was that expert here to participate in anything surrounding the care of the President of the United States?
So let me just say a couple of things. We have had a comprehensive, and I just want to take another step back, comprehensive physical examination. The President has had that. We've given a comprehensive report. Wait, hold on, wait a second.
8 times, or at least once.
There's no reason to go back and forth and be in this aggressive way.
Miffed around here about how information's been shared with the press corps about him.
We certainly could clear this all up just by saying what he was doing here and if it was connected to the president, yes or no?
I am not going to confirm.
Why don't you have a cognitive test just to rule out that there are any issues?
The neurologists have said it is not warranted. The president himself, he said it today, he said it multiple times. I just want to take a step back for a second. Sometimes I don't have the information, and I will always admit that. But I do take offense to what was just happening at the beginning of this briefing. It's not okay.
She can take offense to whatever she wants to take offense to. The reality of it is they have been extremely evasive to basic information. They have made fun of people that are on the other side of it. They made fun of us, have accused us of putting out disinformation to the American public, and it's just not true. And to see them, how they're handling this scandal, and Steve, you brought up a great point. Sean addressed it last night on his show as well. This whole idea that the private residence in the White House is the same as the White House physician office, it's utter nonsense, and they know it's nonsense. Why is a doctor that's a specialist, not going to just the White House medical office, but in the residence where the president is or his family is. Who in the residence, a part of the president's family, is seeing this doctor? And just to say, oh, it's just 3 times, they are evading it intentionally, Steve.
Well, the problem is, they were only asking about the president of the United States.
That's it.
It's not like the neurologist guy came from Walter Reed to see somebody in the steno pool.
Right.
Clearly, if you go to the residence, it's for one of the primaries. What the president of the United States, who is fighting for his political life, should have done, he should have gone downstairs.
Yeah.
But he's afraid of all those people. And Ed O'Keefe at CBS did a great job at essentially litigating. Why don't you tell us if the president of the United States has Parkinson's, or give us some more details about that? But they didn't, and that's what infuriated so many people. The other thing is the president of the United States could have released his medical records. Forget about the security issue. Just say, you know what? In the interest of fairness and openness, take a look. Here's why that Dr. Kennard was at the White House residence.
Yeah,
it's that simple.
His main doctor, Dr. O'Connor, said he did receive permission from Dr. Kennard and from Joe Biden to talk about this. But KJP was saying, I can't talk about it because for privacy reasons. She did confirm he does not have Parkinson's. Here's a quote from Dr. Kevin O'Connor, who is the president's personal physician. He said, prior to the pandemic and following its end, Kennard, meaning Dr. Kennard, has held regular neurology clinics at the White House Medical Clinic in support of the thousands of active duty members assigned in support of White House operations. Dr. Kennard was the neurological specialist that examined President Biden for each of his annual physicals. His findings have been made public each time I have released the results of the president's annual physical. President Biden has not seen a neurologist outside of his annual physical.
So the question is, guys...
We have a lot of questions. What are you talking about?
How long are they going to do this drip process of just... First, according to the White House on, what was it, Friday, the president didn't see a doctor after that big debate. There was no doctor visit. And then the president comes out and says, actually, I did. And so that's why Ed was upset as well, because it's like, you're giving us this information and we have to keep crawling to get more information. And the question is, now that the media has a dog, they're like dogs with a bone right now. They're looking at the White House logs now. More of this stuff is going to... You got sources now that feel more willing to leak Ainsley. What are they going to do when they're all his to fame?
Freaking out because for so long the media has covered for him, and now they're freaking out because of that debate and because of that interview on ABC afterwards. And so now they're asking a million questions and they're freaking out because they know time is of the essence.
Well, and ultimately, if it is revealed that the president has some sort of cognitive problem, the Democrats are going to say, Joe, you've got to go right this second. I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.